The old farmhouse had been quiet for years, nestled in a forgotten dip between two wooded hills. No cell service, no neighbors for miles, just the creak of old boards and the wind rustling through bare trees. Sarah had come to escape the city, to finish a thesis she was already behind on. A weekend off the grid, she'd told herself. Peace. Focus. And at first, it was perfect. The sun came out the day after she arrived, the skies cleared, the trees buzzed with bird song and insects. She spent her mornings on the back deck, wrapped in a blanket, sipping coffee and reading. In the afternoons, she wandered the edge of the woods, snapping photos of moss-covered trees, sketching in her journal. She cooked simple meals, lit a fire one night and toasted marshmallows like she was 10 years old again. By day 3, she was beginning to feel like herself again, like she was actually breathing for the first time in months. And then came night 3. That was when something changed. She'd found the radio in the attic, a dusty old shortwave relic beneath a stack of moth-eaten blankets. Its knobs were stiff, its cord cracked and brittle, but something about it intrigued her. A little history, a little atmosphere. She brought it downstairs, cleaned it off, and set it on the kitchen counter. Plugged it in. Nothing. The dial lit faintly, but all that came through was a thin hiss of static. She turned the knob, moving through the frequencies slowly, searching for any flicker of a voice, a melody, anything. But there was nothing, just white noise. Still she left it on. Somehow the static was comforting. That night rain pelted the windows. The power flickered once, briefly. Sarah was curled on the couch with a blanket and her laptop when she first heard it, a soft clicking sound from the kitchen, a pause in the static, then a voice. At first she thought it was a recording, maybe some faint transmission from a distant station. But when she walked into the kitchen, heart already starting to race, the voice was still there, broken, buried in the static, but speaking. "Can you hear me?" Sarah froze. It was a man's voice, hoarse, desperate. She stepped closer to the radio. The static surged again, almost swallowing the sound, but she heard it once more. "Please, help me." She turned the dial gently, trying to clear the signal, but the moment she moved it, the voice vanished. Just static again. "Hello?" she whispered. "Who is this?" Nothing. A minute passed, then 2. She clicked the radio off, heart pounding in her ears. Probably a fluke, she told herself, a weather station, or someone else on a band she didn't understand. She thought about leaving, but she didn't want to get back home and worry that she'd blown it out of proportion. Wondered what her friends would think if she bailed so quickly. So she stayed, but she didn't sleep well. The next day she shook it off, had a nice slow breakfast on the deck, wandered the property again. By the afternoon she felt like she'd had a good reset, forgot about the night before. But then that night, it happened again. This time it was clearer. She was brushing her teeth when the static shifted, not just the sound, but the tone. It changed, subtly, like something was pushing through. She crept back into the kitchen. The radio hissed, then the voice came again. "Sarah." She stopped cold. Her name. The voice was slow, dragging, like someone speaking underwater. "Sarah, open the door." Her eyes flicked toward the front door, locked. She turned off the radio, backed away slowly. Every instinct screamed to leave, but now she was too scared to go outside. It was pitch black and the weather had blown in. She told herself it was some freak interference, maybe even some creep with a ham radio and a scanner. That could happen, right? She went to bed clutching her phone, though there was no signal. The nearest tower was over 10 miles away. She put the fire poker by the bed. When she finally drifted into sleep, she dreamed of water. Endless black water stretching into a sky with no stars. Something moved below it, circling, but never surfacing. She woke up gasping, heart racing, unsure if she'd screamed out loud. At 2:37 a.m., the static returned, louder this time, and with it came a whisper. "Let me in." Sarah shot upright. The bedroom door was closed, but beyond it the kitchen light had flickered on. She hadn't left it on. She crept from the bedroom, feet silent on the old floorboards. The radio was on again. She hadn't turned it on. The dial was glowing faint green, the voice rasping through waves of hissing sound. "Let me in. I see you, Sarah." She lunged forward and yanked the plug from the wall. Silence, no voice, no static. But just as she turned toward the door, there was a fogged-up face in the kitchen window, pressed against the glass, watching her. Eyes wide, mouth open, she screamed in overwhelming terror. The face vanished in an instant. She backed away, shaking, grabbed her bag and keys, and ran barefoot as fast as she could into the dark, rain-slick night. Her car door slammed shut. The engine turned, once, twice, then caught. Headlights flashed on and lit up the gravel driveway. Nothing out there. No one. But she couldn't shake the feeling of those eyes. She floored it down the narrow, winding road, tires hissing on wet asphalt. Rain hammered the windshield. The wipers thrashed wildly, barely keeping up. Tree branches blurred past. Visibility was nearly zero. The radio was off. Her hands shook as she gripped the wheel, knuckles pale with tension. The faster she drove, the more it felt like something was gaining on her. But there were no headlights behind her. Just shadows. Her hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white. She rounded a bend and slammed the brakes. Standing in the middle of the road was the man from the window. Same eyes, same pale, wet face. Frozen. Waiting. The car screeched to a stop just feet away. Her breath caught. She blinked, and he was gone. The engine sputtered and then died. Darkness swallowed her. Only the sound of rain remained. And then the car radio crackled to life. She hadn't touched it. No lights, no power, just static. Then the voice, soft and calm. "It's okay, Sarah. We're together now." Her scream was lost in the rain.